In today's video, you guys are in for a treat. We have Jerold with us, who is an emotional sales master, and he has been helping our clients land clients so fast. I mean, some of the clients that just came in landed clients in their first week, which is extremely amazing to see. And Jerold and I have been just really taking an intentional route of focusing on client success so that we can hold people accountable to meeting their goals. And what we want to do today in this video is share with you the common mistakes that we see coaches make when it comes to sales. So first, Jerold, I want to talk a little bit about your story. How'd you get into sales? Let's get right into it.
All right, let's get rocking. So, I've been in sales mostly my whole life. I would say where I really got an understanding of people is I spent about a decade working in the entertainment industry, where I really worked with big brands, developing partnerships, sponsorship partnerships from New York, LA to Las Vegas. And I was able to really understand how to communicate with people. I bring that up because I think that's the baseline of everything, is being able to read people's emotions, their facial expressions, tap in quickly to their needs, wants, and desires. I always say sales is really based around serving people. If you look at it taking, you'll never really grow in this business. But I got my really, I would say my notches on my belt when I left the entertainment industry, jumped into the ad tech industry where I was buying and selling media on a mobile device, doing basically, just for layman's terms, for people who don't know, the tech industry, anytime you would see those like ads pop up on games or, on your mobile phone, like, oh, watch this video before so you could keep going, things of that nature. They call that cost per install. Like every time you would see an ad, you would install the app or, things of that nature. And then I jumped into the brand video space from there, which is really working with agency level partnerships to help monetize brands through video. So basically running ads through video programming. I did that on a world market, stayed in that industry for over 4 years, from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And then after that, I decided I didn't really want to work for anyone. So I built my own business in and around the men's personal development space, was able to scale my business to 6 figures and beyond within the first 6 months, just using grassroots marketing and being able to connect people, sell them on a vision, and get them enrolled into what I was trying to do within that space. Stayed in that space for a while. It was very successful, having a great time. Then I really wanted to kind of get away from just coaching people more or less on an emotional standpoint and really teaching them business mechanics. I was able to get into a company called Launchware. I stayed with them for 2 years, was the head of growth there. It was a software that helped coaches grow and scale their business. And that's when I really started seeing the coaching industry from a different perspective, where I noticed that coaches have the biggest heart and they want to help people, but a lot of them have no understanding of business, and more or less, they don't really understand sales. And they looked at sales as a very icky and yucky part of the business, where they would complain a lot, like, oh, I don't feel good. I don't want to sell people. It feels bad. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't want to sell anyone. You should want to enroll them in a possibility of transformation. So then I knew there was, okay, there's a hole in the industry here. Because we have people that are growing, but they're not scaling to the numbers they want to go to, because they're more or less convincing people to do the work rather than getting them excited to actually take the leap and be a part of what they're doing. And that's where, by the grace of God, I got to meet Emily. She had a thriving, and still does have a thriving business. She reached out to me boldly on Instagram. I started coming on board, helping her students in sales mastery. We were just trading off. It was such a pleasure just to serve her community. She would help me with ads and scaling and understanding, funnels and more of the things that I'm not so interested in. But I knew it was a vital mechanics of the business. And then after 2 years of Launchware, I was like, man, I don't really want to sell this high ticket product anymore. I've been grinding for 2 years. I took a break. In that time of being at Launchware, I had built a company called Guaranteed Clients, helping, basically coaches grow and scale their business through sales, teaching them how to grow their business through being able to sell, to enroll people. I didn't want to shut that business down. So I just talked to Emily. I said, hey, listen, you have an asset and a skill that I don't really know that well. I have an asset and skill in sales. I think if we combine forces, we could help people on a larger level because it's the best of both worlds. And then here we are today doing this vision together, and it's working tremendously.
Incredible, incredible story. And I love how you share, like, it all started with understanding human psychology, and sales wasn't just a thing that you learned from reading a ton of books. It was really getting
Right.
into the arena, having conversations with people, and figuring it out along the way. There wasn't like a simple thing that you noticed, but since you've been in this space for so long and you've seen people grow and you've kind of seen the mistakes and the common mistakes that people are making, I want to get into what those are so we can really help some
Yeah.
people today with their sales. And in no particular order, I have some of the common ones written down. The first one is the belief that sales is icky, and you touched on that. So I just want to drive that point home. When someone comes to us, and I've seen this happen before, where people aren't excited for sales calls. And then just last week, we had a group coaching call where we actually watched you in your prime delivering, a great performance. And it was like a movie. And people afterwards were typing in the chat, I am so excited to take sales calls.
Yeah.
So how can we shift that for some people watching this right now?
Yeah, I think you mentioned something that's really important. Like, I didn't learn all this stuff from a book. I've read hundreds of sales books. I've been to seminars and everything, and I think they're great. But I think that's where, in our particular industry, in the online coaching space, right? Or in anything that's like in and around the world of personal development, self-development, growth, mindset, whatever you want to call it, right? If you use these kinds of sales tactics or techniques that you see, and listen, they're great sales experts like your Jeremy Miners or your Andy Elliott's, any of these guys that are well known and well renowned for their sales, that stuff doesn't really translate to our business. And the problem is because people pick up, there's a tactic there. No one wants to feel like they're being sold, especially from a psychological standpoint. What they need to feel is, one, that you care, two, that you have a solution to the problem that they're actually having, right? And the confidence and know-how that you can execute on the result. And the way we do that is by understanding the business, but understanding that it's emotional sales mastery. These people are making a decision based on an emotional output, meaning there's no tangible ROI. Like, you can't measure, I feel better. You can't measure, hey, I have a broken heart and I want my heart to heal. Yeah, you could say down the line, maybe you have more confidence and stuff like that. But in our business, right, we're helping coaches grow and scale their business. I could say, hey, you made 1,000. At the end of our thing, you made 10. That's a $9,000 ROI. It's measurable. So I think when people look at sales from that perspective of like, hey, I'm going to get something, I'm going to sell them into something, I'm going to have them buy my course, buy my product, get into my group coaching, my one-on-one coaching, that's the problem, because they're not solution-oriented people. So if people get excited about going, ooh, I want to know if I could actually help this person, and what I know, the knowledge that I have, can narrow the amount of time that person has to spend in trying to figure it out, okay? And what is the cost of that? So a lot of people just say, I want to make 5K. I want to make 10K. I want to sell high ticket. Like, even the word high ticket is triggering to people now. It's looking at it going, how much would someone pay to alleviate time spent to get a solution to a problem that's been bothering them for X, Y, Z years? So if someone's like, hey, I've been trying to grow my business for 2 years, how much did that cost you? And how much are you willing to spend to narrow that funnel to get the results you want? Or are you willing to spend another 2 years and another amount of time, energy, output to get that result? So you see, sales is problem solving. And when you realize you're a great problem solver, then that means you're a great person of service, that you're delivering service into someone's life. That's when sales gets fun and exciting, because you're no longer trying to get the sale, you're trying to get the solution. And that's all I think about when I'm on calls is like, can I actually help this person? Is the product that Emily and I have efficient, effective, and gets people results? Yes. Okay, does it work for this person? Do they have a tangible coaching business that I can mold, shape, and build, right? And guess what? Is it worth our time, energy, and output? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. It's the one part that really hit home for me was And all of that was amazing. But being genuinely curious and genuinely caring. I
Yeah,
think
people, if you don't care, then you're not, people are going to sniff you out, man, because this is a business where you got to spend months with people. So if you don't care about people, you don't want to see people win, it's the wrong business. Go sell something else. There's nothing wrong with sales. I remember when I I always bring it back. Why would I tell you the entertainment business? Because that was the baseline, the baseline of everything I learned. I remember my mentor in nightlife, I used to say to her, I don't want to be a promoter. Because you start as a promoter, right? What's promoter? You're engaging with people all day long. It's people skills. People got to like you to go out with you. They got to like you to spend time at your table. They got to like you to go to the concerts that you have when there's 700 other opportunities that night. So they're going to choose you. Well, what are they choosing? They're choosing you. So it's your personality. It's the way you sell yourself. And as you grow in nightlife, I say, I don't want to be a promoter. I feel like it's boring. She said, you'll always be selling something. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, whether you're selling tickets to the nightclub or you're selling them a seat at the Oscars, you're selling them something. We're always selling. People are like, I don't like sales. I'm like, you're selling you on social media, aren't you? When you're talking about what you do and how you do it and the results you've gotten, you're selling. So are you selling ethically? Ugh, that word, I'm not going to say it. Ethical. Is that what you're doing, right? Are you being ethical about what you're doing? Are you making false claims? Are you actually delivering results? That's when sales is not sleazy, when you say what you can do and you actually go do it and you deliver the results in the way you said you would do it, then guess what? You're a problem solver. You're not a sleazy salesman who wishes you the world and then just leaves you high and dry. And I think that's another big thing that we're aligned with, is that on the unfortunate landscape of the business that we're in is that there's a lot of people who will gather information, okay, and then they want to repackage it and resell it to you. And that's like where people get triggered because they're like, well, I invested all this money and nothing happened. Well, there's a big difference between information to application, right? A lot of people understand it theoretically, just like a lot of people say, well, I know how to close people. I'm like, sure, I can read that too. But do you understand tonality? Do you understand when to use the objection? Do you understand when to soften your tone when you're talking to someone who needs to be delicate with? Do you understand how to be sharp when someone likes assertiveness and they want to be spoken to in a certain way? This is all training, right? Because people don't buy products, they buy you. They're buying the trust.
Yeah, the listening skills that you have are phenomenal. And that's like one key point that you've really helped transform our clients' sales is understanding how to listen. And we're not just reading a script, but we're assessing the personality type. We're knowing when to say what, at what time, and how to say it. And there's a common mistake I see people make on sales calls, and that's when talking about the pain.
Yeah, people don't like to go there, which is interesting, right? Because in the coaching space, it's your duty to be the one person in their life that gives them the truth. By the way, warranted truth, not unsolicited feedback. There's a big difference there. Like even in the framing of what we teach our students when we talk about sales, we don't just give them feedback. We say, are you opposed to honest feedback on this call? That's an invitation. If someone's like, no, I don't want to hear it, then guess what? You can't give it. But I'll tell you, like 10 to 10 people are like, yeah, I love it. Okay, now you have an invitation to call out what the obvious is. So on sales calls, right, people don't like to go to those waters because they're afraid they're going to lose the sale. Well, you're already losing it if you don't call out the obvious or you don't effectively get them into the place of pain, because they're never going to buy if they're comfortable, right? If something doesn't bother you, like for instance, if I had like an itch on my arm and I know that Benadryl is going to relieve it, right? But the itch doesn't itch anymore. Am I going to go buy the cream? Probably not. I'm like, oh, it doesn't itch anymore. I'm good. Even if I see there's like a circular rash, I'll probably be like, oh, it's going away. That's how people treat their problems in their lives. They're like, well, it's not really like bothering me right now, so I don't need to do it, right? So when you also talked about the sales script, a lot of people just read the script as if it was like the holy word of the Lord. Like they don't miss a word. And I'm like, hey, hold on. First of all, the sales script is a framework, meaning it's like the bumper lanes. When you're bumper bowling, you're a kid and you don't want to get the gutter balls, it bounces off the bumper lanes. That's all it is. It's training wheels. But what makes you great at sales is when you understand how a script works, that it's taking the user through a journey of understanding, like, what they're looking for, where they're at, where they could go, the consequence of not taking action. Okay. Then landing the plane into delivering what the solution is, right? And then offer. So that's all it is. It's a framework. And inside that framework is an area for them to get and become an expert at. Because as you said, active listening, if you just worry about a script, you might miss the important data or information that someone's telling you on a call. Then you're just reading, like, you should just hold it up and be like, hey, I'm going to read this and see if I can close you. But that's not how it works, right? And then also we know, right? Objection handling is like, dude, it's study time. Because if you ever notice you're on a call with someone, if there's a pause or a lag, or like someone's like, let me think about it. And you're like, oh, yeah, think about it. Oh, I know this one. Oh, so when you do go think about it, what are you going to think about? The person's like, I don't know, whatever I need to think about. Okay. And what is that you're going to think? Now, see, it deals like this. Because what are they losing? Confidence in you. Confidence. That's a number one thing in sales is people want to know. Right? Think about this. I'm going to pay you 10 grand to make my life better. But I'm picking up on this call that you're a little unsure about what you do by the way you're saying it, by the way you deliver it, your tone, your technique, the way you deliver the message. It's sporadic. It has a weird tone to it. It feels almost like you're reading something, right? So they're losing the confidence that you're my solution. You're what I've been looking for. So that's kind of like where I love sales so much is that if you're a phony pepperoni, then sales is going to be sleazy. But if you're an honest person who delivers great results, right? It's just mastering the art of getting that across to someone.
Yeah. So when you said that you aren't giving just feedback to everyone, you're actually asking for this feedback, would you say that coaching is sales?
100%. Yeah, people, 100%. What do you think a great salesperson, you know what he does? He or she asks questions.
Exactly.
Coaching, you could tell people, right? Because they've hired you for the input. Coaching is a lot of like, even if a good coach, what I learned from the people who taught me how to coach was, here's the difference between a coach and a motivator, right? Like Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, he is a motivational speaker. What does he do? He motivates you to get you excited, to get you off the couch. But what does he not do? He doesn't give you the blueprint to how to do it. Yes, you could hire him and take his course. I'm not discrediting the guy. But what I'm saying is ideally when he gets hired, he'll hype you up. He's going to get you off the couch, get excited. But there's someone that you need that blueprint from. That's a coach. A coach goes, I'm going to motivate you, but I'm also going to give you the steps you need to take in order to get the results that you want. Right? When you're on a sales call, and the way you get that information is you got to ask a lot of questions.
Exactly. And
no one wants to be told.
I feel like the same thing goes for coaching as well. When you're able to understand the fundamentals of sales, be able to ask the right questions, you will in turn become a better coach. But when people on sales calls aren't willing to dig into pain, they aren't willing to sit with that person, listen to them, and also be able to share the confidence that they know that they can help this person. Does that also mean that they're not a good coach?
No, it just means they're not training.
They're not
they're not training in the art of what they're teaching.
They're not training in the art of what they're teaching. And so if you can master sitting with people, digging into their pain, you will in turn become a better coach.
Absolutely. You have to learn to ask the right questions, right? For instance, like, so say you're picking up on a sales call, right? That I'm picking up in the first 30 seconds to a minute, I'm going to find out who I'm dealing with. That's a skill. That's an acquired skill. I got that from face value with people in the entertainment space. You meet someone, right? You know, people say, I don't know what about them, but they have this energy, right? What does that even mean? It's their presence. It's their composure. It's the way their body language and everything is transmitting to your mind that this person's an A player. How do you know that? You didn't talk to them. It's the way they hold themselves, right? And then there's some people, you meet them and you're like, I don't know, this guy's got, or this girl, something about their confidence, right? Now you start piecing it together. they must be dealing with their self-image problem, which is probably leaking into, right, their decision-making. That means when I get to the bottom of the call, right, my objection is going to be what? Fear.
Yep.
Fear. Even if it's the perfect fit and it's everything, that's when the person goes, okay, yeah, let me think about it. Then they reinforce it with what? I don't like to make any decisions on the fly. That's how I do things. Yeah, but the way you're doing things is why you're on this call, buddy. Your way of doing things is ineffective. That's why you're on this call. Okay, so see, you can't say that. You can't say, well, the way you make decisions is because that's why you're on the call. You would have to ask them a question. Hey, I'm curious to learn. Would it be possible that the way you've been making decisions is probably what led you into the place that you're at right now? So would it be fair to say that if we continue to make decisions the way we've always made them, we'll most likely get the same results? What I heard you say on this call is that you're looking for something new. Yes, I am. Okay. So we probably need to try a different route than we're very comfortable with. Yes. Are you uncomfortable on this call? See, that's a bold question. Yes, I am. Awesome. That means we're in the right place. That's the reassurance.
Yeah.
People buy when they're certain. People don't buy when they're uncertain. Like you see that when we deal with our clients, right? They're just so eager to get the pitch that they don't pick up that the person will never buy, right? They don't want to buy yet because they're unsure. And then they take them from an unsure place and then they try to give them a sure thing. And the person's like, yeah, I'll get back to you. You know, you and I always make the analogy, right? It's like, we always say to someone like, what's your dream car? They're like, I don't know. I'm going to say mine. Oh, an Aston Martin DB12. Okay. Well, you walk in Aston Martin and the guy just walks up to you and he's like, hey, what would you like to pay for this? I'm like, I don't know, $500 a month. He's like, great, $500 a month. What color? I'm like, I don't know, steel black. Okay, cool, black. What about the interior? Camel. Okay, camel. What do you know? I have one right here. In fact, I'll give you $500 a month, no down payment. Here's the keys. Can I put it in your hand? You ready to take it? You'd be like, oh my gosh, yes. Right? It's everything you wanted. Well, why don't people do that when you give them everything they wanted? Your course solves all the problems. Yes, thumbs up. And it's exactly in the price range that they said they'd be willing to pay. Why won't they buy? Because they're unsure about you. They don't believe that you'll deliver the results that you say. It's nothing to do with the product. It's you. So you can't go into price, sell, and pitch, right? If you haven't got certainty that they believe you are the solution to the problem.
Yeah, I'm hearing you say a lot of it's lack of confidence and the prospect is unsure. And that's all like subtle things that people can do in the call. But when it comes to the objection handling, like they've laid out the price, they've told the prospect how much it is, and then they start getting into objections. What do you see as the common mistake that people are making when getting to that part?
Yeah, I think the big thing in objections is this. There's a fine line between handling an objection and becoming manipulative. That's a very fine line, right? Because if someone is not the right customer, right, and you've handled like one or two objections and now you're getting into like convincing them, I will tell you, those are the people who do chargebacks. Those are the people who quit and complain. Those are the people who become a very difficult customer. So you have to, as a sales expert, you have to know when to pull back the reins and just let it go.
Yeah.
Like, perfect example, I had a sales call today, right? Even from the beginning, the guy was unsure of why he was even on the call. So I asked him, I said, most people who go through this process and spend all this time to answer questions, fill an assessment form, get on a call, take an hour out of their day, they have something that they want to work on. When I ask you that, you tell me you have nothing. Why are you here? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know, right? But then with a little digging, we find out there's some deeper issues, but the pain point for him wasn't an anchor, meaning it didn't bother him enough, because if it bothered him enough, he would have brought it up on the call, right? So now when we get to offer, there was no reason to make an offer. Even better that I didn't make the offer, because he even asked me, he's like, well, how much does it cost? And I was like, well, cost aside, do you believe that everything I spoke about on this call would get you the results you want? Because that's the most important thing. And he goes, I don't know, maybe. You see, what does that tell you? He's uncertain. I said, what has you feeling that it's a maybe? He's like, I don't know, I just feel like maybe I don't need this. You see? I said, yeah, I agree with you. I'm very uncertain about even offering you anything because I don't think you're a good fit for what we do. And he was like, okay. And then when we hang up, he writes back, I just lost my job. The last thing I was thinking about doing was spending money. Do you see if I would have convinced him that he needed this and it's a breakthrough? You got to spend money to make money, like all the little catch terms that we throw at people, and we extend people into a place of insecurity, an unhealthy place. There's a place for stretching, right? We talk about stretching people, which is healthy. If we've got the finances on the table and we know that they could potentially afford it, right? So a little bit of down payment with the rest in funding, smart business. Stretching people into a place of debt, how are they ever going to show up on a call ready to learn? All they're thinking about is that bill every time you get on the call. So I think when you get to objection handling, you have to understand who you're dealing with. That's what the whole entire call is. And also what you and I work on very, very vigilantly is the sales process. We always tell everyone that 75% of the close happens before they even get on the call. That sales system, the way we vet people and qualify them is so important. People just get on calls with anyone. They're like, oh, someone DM me the word I put in ManyChat. I'm going to close them. I'm like, did you ask them all the questions that we asked you? No. Did you see if they're financially okay to invest? No. And then they get in a call and they're like, I don't know why they didn't buy.
Is that a common mistake that you see people make? That is probably one of the most common mistakes I see is the systems leading up to the sales call. Yes, reps are important in the beginning to get those in. That's absolutely how you learn. But we want to make sure that the people we are hopping on calls with are qualified and they already know what your offer is so that when they show up, it's not about what you said, like convincing them to buy something they already want it. It's just about, hey, how much does this cost? And am I a good fit?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, everything that you do, like leading up, like how you support what we do in Guarantee Clients, how you like tell the students like your VSL matters, right? Because like what happens after they answer the series of questions? It goes to the VSL. It explains exactly what the person does. So they're getting warm. They're going from lukewarm to warm to hot to ready to buy. When you want to be ready to buy, and ready to buy doesn't mean they have the money in the hand, but they have a willingness. So all of that preparation, like if we just start from the strategy of the ad gets them to the follower, right? But it doesn't just happen there. It's the content. Now they're getting interested in what you do. They're starting to see you as like you say, a brand authority. They're starting to believe that you know what you're talking about because they're watching you, okay? Then they go from that to a prompt, whether it's DM me the word, sales if you want to learn how to master your sales, or maybe they see something and they DM you. Now it's conversation. Now, when we're in the conversation, we're asking them qualifying questions. Hey, what are you struggling with? Cool. How long you been at this? 2 years. Okay. Are you interested in hiring a coach? Yes. Have you worked with a coach? No. Okay. Is this something you're ready to take action on today? Or like, are you ready to jump in? Yeah. My business isn't working. Okay, cool. Here's a booking link. Get in. Let's have an assessment call. Now they do that. Then they answer a series of questions. Now we're qualifying them financially. Are you in a position to make an investment financially, at least 4 figures USD? Yes. If they say no, do you have the financial resources? Credit, loan, whatever. If they say yes, great. If they say no, and the next one is, I don't have any money in my bank account, how is that person going to buy? Doesn't matter how great you are. They're like, I have no money. A lot of people are in that situation. So we're qualifying them. If they get qualified, they move to the next step. They watch the VSL. The VSL informs them what you do, how you do it, what is the course like, what does this mean, right? So now they're prepped. So you don't have to talk about all that on the call. Now we get on the call. I have information about them. I know they've been interested. There's been communication. They've been talking to me. Now we get on the call. I'm just going to go through the basic script. I'm going to ask them what their pain point is, right? What are they doing to solve it? If they don't know, I'm going to create a solution, right? I'm going to see if they're interested in moving forward. If they are, great. I'm going to lay it out for them. And then I'm going to get into the offer. And then from the offer, we're going to get ready for your top 3 objections.
Easy
piece.
That's the system, but it's probably the hardest thing for people to actually set up in the coaching space because they, like you said, they love coaching, they love helping people, But when it
Yeah.
comes to the marketing, the systems, and the sales, that is where we see most coaches get lost. And it makes sense because there's a lot of steps to it. And when I was building my business, like I always had someone holding my hand, making sure that I was doing the right things and just being a sounding board for any questions that I had. And I can't imagine if you are a coach right now who doesn't have you have some systems set up, but it's not working how you want it to, and you feel like you're just spinning your tires and you're stuck, lost, and confused. And you want to feel like you have a business that when you wake up, you have qualified sales calls on your calendar from someone that's working for you, setting all the appointments.
100%. I think what you're outlining is a lot of people forget this is a business. And a lot of people treat this like a hobby. They just want to post one thing on the internet, and all of a sudden people are just banging on their door like, I can't wait to work with you. And that's not how this works. It's a very competitive, saturated marketplace, and people have to run their business like an actual business, like an entity. And that's another thing that I think we're doing that's very powerful in the space, is that we're actually teaching people how to be entrepreneurs. We're not just giving them some, a couple of videos and telling them they can make 10K this month. That's the false claims that puts bad taste in people's mouth. We're actually saying hey, this is a business and we're going to show you how to build this business start to finish. Once your business is built and the leads are coming in, we're going to teach you how to effectively take people through a sales process that feels good and actually helps people get transformation and breakthrough in their life. So it's a full way of looking at the scope of a business.
Yeah. This conversation, I feel like, is going to help so many people. And if you're watching this right now, make sure to give it a like. Let us know how you liked it down in the comments below. And if you want to take that next step and start the process of actually growing and scaling your business, putting these systems in place, even hopping on a group coaching call with Jerold and I, and just getting into the community to see how we work and how we teach and how we coach, then we have an amazing, amazing opportunity that we want to share with you. So we have a free school group that shares with you how to set up your first ad and also master negotiation skills. So if you want to do that, go ahead and click the link below in the description. Join. It's free. We'll see you in there. And anything else you want to share with them, Jerold?
Just, have a willingness to invest in your business and in yourself, right? If you want to see yourself grow and see your business grow, you have to find the experts in your space that know the things that you don't know. And that's something that, you and I have always, even building our business, we never bicker about what are we spending on ads, or what are we reinvesting? I mean, I even love the philosophy that you've put into our business that for the first 3 to 6 months, we're hey, we don't even make money. And a lot of people want to be insta rich because it's Instagram and they just want to be super famous. But they don't really want to put the legwork in to build a business that could be legacy, that can build an ROI, that can actually be recurring, and it's something you could be proud of. So I think if you're serious, right, and you're hey, I got a passion, right? I really love people. I want to coach them, but I'm missing some parts of being an entrepreneur. I don't really understand some of these things you're talking about. Then take action today. Because the people who take action, right, those are the people that we're seeing getting results. People who talk about it, mull it over, say, I'm going to do it. 3, 4, 5 years go by. We get in a phone call and I'm like, how's your business doing? They're like, I don't know. I haven't made money in 4 years. Okay, well, stop wasting time, take action. So I guess it's just a roll call to the people who are hey, I'm ready. I'm tired of being in the stands. I want to get in the game. I want to play. And I need the players to show me how to do it. Then this is definitely for you.
This is for you guys, and we'll see you in there. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.